Hello, and welcome to Pixel Perspective Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adrian, alongside my good buddy, JJ. How you doing, JJ?
Doing well. I'm sitting here with my Palico lock.
Yeah, he's actually sitting still for once.
He is. He's actually been sitting here for what, a good 10 minutes or so.
Wow,
just hanging out in my lap. Yeah, he's
maybe
purring. I don't know. You probably can't hear it, but he is purring, just hanging out.
He's getting a little older now. So maybe he's calming down just a little bit.
It's a little chilly in here too, so he might just be cold. I'm like, you need to warm me up right now. So that could be the case too.
Oh man, we've got so much sleet today. It was crazy. Did you guys get any of that?
Today, no. Yesterday we got a bunch of snow though. None of it stuck, but we had a whole bunch.
I went outside as it was sleeting and picked up a handful. It's just little tiny pebbles, ice pebbles. It was really cool. And then you go outside and look now, it looks like snow on the ground, but you go out there and walk and then you don't sink into it. You just walk on top of it. So it's just like ice, white ice. It's really
slippery.
Cool. And slippery, yes. So we got to stay home today.
Nice. There you go.
So how you been, man?
Not too bad. Just work and enjoying my break from YouTube. I got a few ideas to come back, but I'm in no hurry. I got my minor surgery this weekend to get my wisdom teeth out. This will be done by the time this episode is recording or released. But it's nice not to have to think about it at the moment. Just because I was kind of like, I was doing every freaking Sunday for like 4 years, so it was a little wearing at the end there. So I'm sure I'll be back at some point though. Right now though, I'm just kind of enjoying the break, and I wanted to try and catch up on some of my games to try and do my list of 20 for this year, but there's so much new stuff that has been coming out, and it's the end of February and I've only got 2 games beat. I think at this time last year I had 5. So I'm so far behind. It's crazy. I'm working on 2 others. I can just jump right into what I've been playing.
Yeah, go for
Guild
it.
Wars 2 still. We're still, chugging along on that. We're working our way. You'll actually, since I'm off, if you play tomorrow, you'll be able to get a little farther and catch up a little bit more because I won't be on. Which means you probably won't. You probably won't be on then.
Dude, Elden Ring.
Oh boy. And then Artful Lad 2 I've been playing on PS1. Really enjoying that game. It's really quirky. Like the humor, I don't remember the humor being as goofy in the first one. Not as goofy, but it was goofy. This one is just like off the wall, just like totally random weird stuff. Like perfect example, this morning I was playing and there's this part where you one of the characters you meet is entering in a fighting tournament because that's what JRPGs have. They have fighting tournaments that you enter and you're supposed to win. Right. This was all scripted. You didn't actually have to compete, but you saw it play out with the guy. And so between a couple of the matches, I walked around and started talking to some NPCs, and there's this like monk looking dude. He's got no shirt and he's got like the head wrap on. And he is just a random NPC standing outside there. And he's like, well, I joined the fighting tournament to in hopes of if I won that it would help me reach enlightenment. But unfortunately I lost. So that didn't happen. And, my character is like, oh, so what are you going to do now? And his response is, I don't know, maybe something with gerbils. What? Completely random, but it cracks me up.
That's like Earthbound level randomness there.
Yeah, and they had like one of the fighters' names was like Chester the Molester. Oh, like it was a little weird. Yeah, it was just kind of like, oh, okay, 1998 or whatever this came out. I see you. It's weird.
Somebody had fun naming
Yeah,
naming
apparently,
characters.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just kind of crazy. But yeah, it's I'm enjoying the gameplay, and I really like I love any JRPG that gives you a whole bunch of characters to play as, and then like splits it up at certain points where you're playing as different characters throughout different points in the story, and that's what this has done.
Yeah.
Which has been really, really neat. So yeah, it's been fun. Other than that, Pokemon Legends Arceus. I dove into that head first, and I did not stop playing until I caught every single one. Did everything, caught Arceus, all that stuff. The only thing I didn't do was get rank 10 in the guild or whatever it is, just because I saw how much it takes to do that, and I was like, I'm not even gonna do that. I don't care enough, and apparently you don't even get anything for it. So I was like, not worth it. But I had fun collecting everything and completing it all. So
yeah, it is a fun game.
In preparation for our next episode, spoilers, I started up Chrono Trigger. So
yeah. Well, I'm similar to you. I've been playing Pokemon Arceus. I don't even know where I am in that game. I've got to be close to the end. I just fought the big beast, and I don't know the name of it or anything like that, but I assume they made it seem like that was the final boss, but then it's not. So yeah, there's some other things going on story-wise that I have to get through. But on your recommendation, I'm going to try to beat the game first before going back and trying to collect all the Pokemon, just so that I have all my resources and things that I need. It'll make it easier.
I mean, you can't fully beat the game. Like, you can't get Arceus unless you have all the others anyway.
That's true.
So
yeah, but I do think it's cool that you went and got everything, like all of them. That's my eventual goal.
It wasn't anywhere near as like time consuming as I thought it was going to be. I think everything altogether took about somewhere between 50 and 60 hours. And that was like, there's a few points where like you have to get some of them from the, what are they called, the rifts or whatever they are, the that show up randomly. You have to wait for those to show up in some instances. And so literally some of it was like me just keeping my Switch on, had it sitting in next to me and waiting for it to finally show up while watching TV or something like that. So
okay.
Yeah,
I've only done one of those rifts, and I couldn't catch anything because they were all so aggressive, and I would try to battle one and then two more would join in, and yeah, it was tough.
Yeah, you got to be pretty high level to successfully get a few of those.
That makes sense. Well, it is a fun game, and I'm still enjoying it. I am taking a bit of a break off of it though, because I had to play Chrono Trigger, like you said, for the next episode. I also I'm kind of alternating between Chrono Trigger and Mother 3 at the moment. Still just working on that one. And you mentioned like you like taking different character paths throughout a game, and I think I mentioned this to you already, but Mother 3 is definitely under that same vein. You take control of different characters at different points of the game, depending on where the story wants to take you. And that's a lot of fun. But Chrono Trigger, yeah, I'm playing that on the DS. Are you playing the DS version?
Yeah, that's the best version, easily, hands down.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I like the menu being down on the lower screen instead of up on top. But I also like that game gives you the option to play classic mode, which is basically the Super Nintendo version, and then you can put the menu up on the top screen if you want to.
Yeah.
So yeah, like right when you first start the game, it gives you the option classic mode or the new DS mode. It's like, well, obviously I'm going to play the new DS mode.
You can change it at any point, but
oh, can you? Okay.
Yeah.
I am. Let's see.
And it has cutscenes, which is really nice.
Yes, those cutscenes are cool. I just got back to my time after basically, I guess, rescuing Maro. Is it Marley or Maro?
Apparently it's Marl. When I first played the game, the first time I played it, I pronounced it Marl, and I thought that sounded weird. So eventually I just started saying Marley because I like that better. But over the years, I've heard people just be adamant that it is apparently Marl, because Marley should have a Y on the end.
That's true.
So, but it don't really matter. You're farther than I am, though.
Am I? Wow.
Yep.
I'm actually.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'll still beat the game way
Yeah,
ahead of you. We both know that.
There's
but
no doubt.
Yeah, you're farther than me. I've had to kind of take a break from it because I am like, I don't know if I told you I was doing a Marvel journey. I think I did, didn't I?
Yeah.
So I've just quick little side tangent thing. I don't know if I mentioned this on the show, but I found a website that like lists all of the Marvel MCU, like even like the shows and everything in specific order from the very beginning to, you know, where it is now. And that like even includes like splitting the seasons up by episodes. Like it'll say like, watch this movie, then watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 2, episodes 1 through 16. Then watch these 2 movies, then watch this season of this other show, then go back to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., finish the rest of that season. Like it splits it up and gives you a whole rundown of all this stuff. It's super neat. And it includes the Netflix shows as well. So like Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. Unfortunately, Netflix is letting those shows go on the 28th. I thought I had plenty of time to get through all this stuff. But today we are recording on the 23rd of February. So I have 5 days left to get done with all the Netflix stuff. So I have been just motoring through all of those to try and get through and you know, catch up before they get moved from Netflix. I'm sure they'll get picked up somewhere else. I don't know when or where. Hopefully, and I assume Disney Plus, at least Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., because I think they were an ABC show, and I think ABC is owned by Disney. But I don't know about the others. I have no idea. So thankfully, like I said, I've been motoring through them, and I have like caught up on everything except I just need to see season 7 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then I'll be completely caught up. And with me being, you know, having surgery this Friday and then being out of commission for the next couple of days after that, I'll have no problem finishing that up. But it has like delayed me from playing anything, which has been another reason I haven't been able to, you know, work on my list of 20 and having to drag my feet. I've just literally been trying to catch up on those shows and why, because I was watching them super casually. I started this back in like October. And I've been watching them super casually, but I've had to just motor on this. So
are those Netflix produced shows?
The not Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but the other ones, the Defenders and everything, yes, they are.
It seems weird to me then that they would let it go, considering.
Correct. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know
why. Where does this one fall?
They're not like coming out with new ones or anything like that. I don't even. Which one is that? I don't
the
think
Punisher.
That the like the old one?
Yeah, man. I found this. It's the Punisher. The old.
That one is definitely not on the list. The Netflix Lundgren. Punisher show is on the list, both seasons of that.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoyed.
I don't think I've ever seen this movie though. I saw it at Goodwill, and I knew of it, but I don't think I'd ever watched it. So I could not just leave it there. I have to watch this. So that's on my list of Marvel movies. Yeah, that's cool. What else am I playing? I think I've been playing Sackboy with Katie, and we haven't played in a few days, but last week we were playing like a couple levels a night and just trying to whittle our way through that one. That is an excellent co-op experience, by the way, for anybody on the fence about it. If you've played Tearaway on the Vita, or I think it's on the PS4 as well, it's very similar to Tearaway in structure and the way it's made up. Tearaway is made up of these cutout like collage things, and it's really creative. Well, Sackboy is obviously made up of different materials that have been formed to create different characters and environments and things like that. It's all basically like not yarn based, but I think it is. I don't know, but it's like cool. Crafty. It's very creative, crafty. Exactly.
I want to try it. I don't want to pay more than $20 for it, and it just hasn't gone down that far yet.
It's really good, especially. I think that game is favors multiplayer co-op. Yeah. I could play that by myself just fine, but I think I have a lot more fun playing it with Katie, because we are trying to collect everything through the level before we move on. And if we miss anything, then we have to go back and play it. So think of it like Mario World, basically, or not World, but what are the new ones? the one on the Wii U, Bowser's Fury. Or not the Wii U,
Mario 3D World.
Switch 3D World. So that one, like you have this overworld where you can walk to the different areas and start the level up. And then when you start it, there's specific goals within the level, collectibles that you can get. And it's if you don't get them all, you restart the level and you try again to get all of them. And it's just like that. It's a really fun game. I highly recommend that one.
Solid.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, I've been playing quite a few games actually. So yeah, I think Chrono Trigger though is going to be my main one to try to get through. Well, it has to be because I've only got about 4 weeks to get through. And Elden Ring comes out on Friday, and that's going to put a huge damper in everything for me. Can't wait for that one.
You decide which system you're getting it on?
I'm going PS5. You're getting PS5. Brody's getting PS5. I got a friend at work that's getting
Brody
PS5.
is getting it?
He is. Yeah, I texted him today. Yep. I bailed on him. I was supposed to go see him this weekend, and I bailed on him and told him we're going to be playing Elden Ring, and he's excited about that, so he's going to pick it up.
You can co-op with up to 4 people in this one too, apparently.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. I did.
Any idea what you're going to play?
I think I'm going to go magic build. What about you? You going to go big guy?
I was thinking maybe spear.
Oh, weird. Okay, that'd be different.
I know.
I've never heard anybody go, I want to play with a spear. That just seems like the least appealing weapon to me.
I love playing spears in video games. Secret of Mana, I always have a spear user.
Oh, really?
Legend of Mana, even when I use other weapons, I still have spear as a backup. I love using pole arms in general.
Huh.
Yeah.
That is cool.
I just haven't done it for any of the Souls games. It's always been axe in any of the Dark Souls games, and then I went magic in Demon Souls.
I'm curious about the bow though. I always go for a ranged character in most of the games. Besides the Souls games, I would always go sword and shield in those. But I'm watching the bow and arrow gameplay in Elden Ring, and it looks a lot of fun. So I may give that a shot as well. I haven't decided which character class I'm going to pick yet. I haven't done any research on it, but I would like to figure that out before the game gets here because I don't want to spend too much time trying to figure that out. I just want to pick a character and go.
Right.
So
cool.
Well, do we want to get into our topic?
Do it. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. We are talking collecting goals. JJ and I are both collectors. I'm kind of, I guess, a little bit anal about collecting. I don't know a better word for it, but I'm very
that's about right. Yeah.
I'm very into it. It's like how you have to beat all your games. I have that's my focus is for my collection. So
whereas I'm like, did you see this end boss? That was so epic. You're like, yeah, but did you see how it looks on my shelf?
Exactly right. Did you hear how I got that game and where I got it and how much I paid for it? Oh man, dude, that's my excitement. So we're talking goals, and so just to give you an example, there's some different types of goals. So you'll see a lot of times on YouTube channels and stuff like that, people going for full system sets, and I think those people are crazy. I don't get that. Like, why would you want to collect games that you'll have no attachment to, that you don't want to play, like sports games? That includes, like, they will collect every single game that released for that system. And so for them to complete that collection, they have to have every North American release game. They will even go as far as to include like special release games that maybe weren't released out on store shelves, basically. Like Nintendo World Championship cart is a good example of that. That was given away to people who participated in the Nintendo World Championships. And a lot of people consider that to be part of a complete NES set. I don't get it. But to each their own, that's what makes collecting fun. You set a goal for yourself.
I'll be honest though, I have 3 things, we'll get into, what our goals are with our collections and everything, but I have 3 things that I as far as goals go, on what I want with my collection. And one of them eventually, because I'm more focused on the other two at the moment, but one of them eventually will be, I would love to have a complete run of Wii U North American games.
Oh, really?
And mainly because that's attainable. Because there's not that many. There's only like what 150-ish.
It's a very light set.
It may not even be that many. But it's a really, really small amount. And so it was kind of like, for me, it wasn't like I just love the Wii U. It's the best system ever, and I have to have every game for it. It was more like, that's attainable. I think I can do it, and I think it would be cool just to say I've got every single game released on this system here. It's more just like a bragging rights kind of thing, and just like feeling satisfied that you've got a full set of something.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I think that's what
why
drives.
I would want to do that.
Yeah, and I think that's what drives a lot of people when they go for those full sets. They want to have everything, and I know to that extent, I guess I get it, but at the same time, like I have limited space, and I don't want to crowd my space with things that I don't care about. So, that leads into me forming goals to help me stay focused, because when you go out game hunting or, looking, you pass by something at a game store or something, you have to have a reason to purchase it, and it has to have some sort of meaning to you. Otherwise, you won't have any desire to purchase that specific thing, nor will you have a desire to go out and look for that specific thing. So, I go out a lot, and, sometimes I'll go to GameStop. I'm really trying to get a lot of DS and 3DS games right now, or I have been for the past year and a half, 2 years.
A good idea at this point.
Yeah. With the eShop going away, things are going to skyrocket. But I started getting into DS and 3DS collecting specifically because GameStop throws away cases. And I know that if I wait too long, those games will likely be unattainable or, priced more than I would like to pay for them. So I won't.
Sure.
So I started off kind of early trying to get all of those. And a lot of the ones that I got for decent prices are a few $100s now. It's just because, first of all, there weren't a whole lot of them produced, but also they were cut even shorter by GameStop throwing away the cases. So if you can get a complete unboxed version of a DS or 3DS game, one that you like, then that's awesome. And they will only go up. So that moves me into the next goal. There's a few other goals. So you have genre. So whether you're into action games or shooters or fighter games or sports games or RPGs or horror games, platformers, you name it. Those are genres. And a lot of people, what?
Those are indeed genres, yes.
Yeah, they are. For me, it's genre is something that I started with. I've moved kind of past that, but and I've said this before, I started with RPGs and horror games as my genres to collect and to seek out. And I went for everything. Doesn't matter the system, whether I own the system or not. If it fell within that specific genre that I was looking for, then and I could find it at a decent price in good condition, then I would buy it. Usually RPGs. Yours is it just RPGs for you as far as genres go?
It was.
Okay.
Now, I mean, I branched out, but back when I first started collecting, and back then I wouldn't have even told you that I was a collector. I just wanted nothing but RPGs. Because I just really liked them. And then I kind of like, once I played Mass Effect, I was like, oh crap, there's other games that are like not typical like JRPGs, which is what I typically go for, that I should try out because they're awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
I've branched out since then, but prior to that, it was mainly JRPG focused.
I assume were like me in that you were collecting RPGs in order to eventually play them, and not necessarily just to collect. I would say that was my driving force in the beginning. That's kind of changed now. I've become more realistic in knowing that, hey, I'm not going to be able to play through all of these, but I'll at least be able to, play a little bit of them. And whichever one
I still have every intention of playing them.
Do you?
Yep.
Well, but then you also have like game series, like a specific series, whether you're in the Mario games or Sonic games or Final Fantasy games, Dragon Quest, things like that. Um, I would say that when I started off with genre collecting, I did have series collections in mind as well. And I sought after, in the beginning, I sought after some series that meant a lot to me. So Wild Arms, I beat the first game and I played like half of the second game and like half of the third game, but I didn't play any of the other ones. So
You have them
I
all?
I have them all now, yeah.
Okay.
But I went through and decided that that was a game series that I wanted to have all of. So yeah, that and the Xeno series. So Xenogears, Saga 1, 2, and 3, Xenoblade, all of those. I really love those games. So that was another series that I had to collect.
You have Xenosaga, all of them?
Yeah, I have all three. I would like
With
to get
like complete in box?
the only one that's not complete is Xenosaga 3, and that's also the most expensive
Oof.
one. Yeah.
Oof. Yeah, I was like, if any of them, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I would
got them
love
all day one because I loved them so much, and I still have everything complete in box. I love it. I even got the promotional DVD that came with the Xenosaga, like all the cutscenes that you can
Oh,
watch.
really?
Yeah, I
Huh.
actually bought that separately. I found it for like $6 at a vintage stock.
I don't think I was aware of that. You'll have to show me. Is it in a DVD case?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. That's cool.
Yeah, I imagine you probably get it. I would assume still super cheap. This was maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. It wasn't that long ago, and it was really really cheap. It's crazy. But yeah, those games are stupid expensive now. It's crazy. That's why I could go on another rant about them not releasing this stuff digitally just so people can experience it. Okay, collecting goals. Those are fun.
Yeah, there's what about you? Any game series that you went after early or currently going after?
I mean, series currently, not really. Final Fantasy's always been, number one for me.
Yeah.
So anything Final Fantasy related, I almost always pick up. If I can get it like at a good price, and it's something I do plan on playing. Like I'm kind of like trying to round out what I have, like making the stuff that I have loose complete in box, like Final Fantasy 2, Final Fantasy. Well, I've got 3 and Mystic Quest on Super Nintendo complete in box. But Final Fantasy 2, I would love to have complete. I have pretty much everything else, including like collector's editions and all that stuff. It's not so much. So I would add one more way of collecting, and that is by like publisher or developer or something like that.
Right.
Example, one of mine that I do collect for is Working Designs. I try to get any game I can that they've done, and I have all the main ones that people know, like Lunar 1 and 2, Vanguard Bandits, Growl Lancer, a lot of PS1 stuff that they did, and some PS2. And I've got Albert Odyssey on Sega Saturn, which is another stupid expensive game. Well, it's Sega Saturn, so they all are. And so I've got those, and I mean those, and it's mainly because Working Designs, just like in a lot of their games. Well, Albert Odyssey that I'm playing right now, they come with just stuff in the boxes, and it's just so cool.
Yeah.
I love just like seeing like the little figurines and the necklace that we talked about in Lunar 2. I don't think we were on the show and we talked about that, but you and I did talk about that at some point.
Yeah.
And I love like the work that they put into making their releases here in the States special. Unfortunately, they're not around anymore, so they're not like they haven't brought anything in a long time. But what they did bring here was almost always just really, really neat to see, especially that PS1, PS2 era when they had all those box collections with the really cool stuff inside. So I have all the ones that I really want, but I would love to get everything that Working Designs did, just because I love appreciating a company that puts that much love into what they do. So yeah, that's been a really, really good one for me.
Working Designs is one that I am casually pursuing. The only reason why I didn't go hardcore into that one is because those games have always been expensive, even when I started collecting, and they're very expensive now. Like there's some on my list that I want to get, but those games are Working Designs. They would import games over here and localize them for English speaking audience, and they always imported really fun, creative, artistic games. I mean, they were just very appealing.
And they did a good job with it too.
Yeah, they did an excellent job. I can't like all of the games that I can think of, with the exception of maybe like a handful of them, are games that I want to have and play through. They just are fun. Like Albert Odyssey, like you're saying, that's one I would really love to play through at some point in time. That's I don't know. I think that game is up to like $500 now, something like that, maybe a little less.
I don't think it's 500. I think it's between 3 and 4, but I mean, still, yeah, it's up there.
It's still, yeah. Magic Knight Ray Earth is another one that I really want, and that's
I would love to get that one, but yeah,
that's like $1,000 game. I do have a decent collection of Working Designs games, like Dragon Force. I think is the most expensive one that I have, and yeah, I have all the PlayStation games minus Vanguard Bandits. And what was the gun one? Do you remember that one?
Gun one.
Yeah, it's got a little fairy on the cover. I can't even think of it. Anyway, that's one too that they have. But also like Sega CD, they have the Lunar games, Lunar 1 and 2 on Sega CD. I would love to have those. And yeah, like just that's a great company. I've also done a developer focused on mine. So I From Software has become, ever since the original Dark Souls, Demon Souls really, has become one of my favorite developers. And I sought out very early to collect as much or if not all of the From Software games that I could possibly get. So I have a pretty decent collection of them. I have Kingsfield 2, Kingsfield 3, or I can't remember what it's called. It's the one on PS2.
Kingsfield games aren't cheap either.
No, they've gone up quite a bit. I would love to get the first Kingsfield. That one's gone up, and I want the long box version of it. But also like Echo Knight. I picked up Echo Knight and Echo Knight Beyond, and I found Echo Knight Beyond at a vintage stock for like $20. That game is like a $300 game now, $200 to $300 game. It just shot way up. But also there's a lot of other games that are very similar to in gameplay style to Kingsfield. Echo Knight is one of those, and Dark Tower I think is another one. But yeah, I just started going through and collecting those, and they did all the Front Mission games too. I'm not Front Mission. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, like, what?
Yeah, I'm thinking Mech.
I don't know.
I'm trying to think. It came out on the PlayStation 1 originally, and it's a Mech game, and I don't know why I can't think of the name of it. But Front Mission came to my head because it's a Mech game. It's a different, and it's been in the way different recently. Style. Yes, that's true too. Yeah, but you guys know what I'm talking about listening, I'm sure. But yeah, I haven't sought after those. I do have a few of those games in the series, but that's not my favorite game series that they make. I do have all the Souls games and everything, so yeah, that's fun. But also Nintendo games. I'm not a completionist when it comes to the Nintendo games. I just get the ones that I love the most. But I think Nintendo as a developer is one of the best, if not the best. Yeah, that was funny.
Did you see it?
Yeah, he's just bolted like a rocket through that opening there.
He's got the zoomies. Oh boy.
Another goal for me is like handhelds versus consoles. You know, I used to be solely focused on console games. I've since shifted to handheld collecting. And I've gotten pretty hardcore with it. I'd say ever since the Switch came out, I've been really invested in getting handheld games.
Yeah, I'm gonna lose you. You're gonna be a mobile gamer by next year. Ugh.
Yeah. God. I mean, if I say it all the time, it fits my play style best. I don't always have
Gross.
an hour or two to sit in front of the TV. But if I'm just sitting there entertaining somebody, or sitting there listening to them, I can pop it open and just play. So it's fun.
Sure, they appreciate that too.
But yeah, I went out and started collecting all of the RPGs and horror games and stuff that I could for the DS, 3DS, Game Boy Advance. So yeah, for me also, well, actually, whenever you get down to it, you can also have goals within goals. So going out and collecting certain genres of things or developers or handhelds versus consoles, whatever the case may be, you can also set like micro goals within those. So some people want to collect complete in box only. Some people only want loose. Some people don't care if you have either or. I'm of that market. I could have loose or complete. But as things change and I grow my collection.
Oh, he just stabbed me right in the stomach and it hurts so bad. I love you too, pal.
I find myself trying to put more focus on getting complete in box things, especially with Game Boy Advance games.
Yeah.
I've got a little bit of a collection of Game Boy Advance games that are complete in box, like all the Final Fantasies and Dragon Quest games. And I don't know. I like those little boxes. I think they're cool, especially sitting up on the shelf. They just look nice, the artwork out there. So I've started to try to basically curate my collection. And if I can find a decent deal on something that's complete, then I'll buy that and sell off the loose cart that I had. But yeah, what's that?
I was gonna say, you know, what also looks really good on shelves is original Game Boy games, complete in box.
Yeah.
Those cases are actually really cool looking. Nintendo's always been really good with their cases and the just how they look on a shelf. Even up to now, Switch games look amazing on the shelf. But I like, you said Final Fantasy for your Game Boy Advance and stuff, and I've got Final Fantasy Legend 1, 2, 3 and Final Fantasy Adventure complete in box on the original Game Boy, and I love the way that those look. It's so neat. Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
I've got mine sitting up on that shelf right there, and dude, every time I come in and looking through my collection, that's usually the first place I go. That's like my favorite. That shelf right there is like my favorite shelf. As I've got the Virtual Boy. It's like my handheld shelf.
Yeah.
I've got a complete in box new 3DS. I've got a complete in box Game Boy Color, Neo Geo Pocket Color complete. So it's really cool. I just added that Power Glove, by the way. I found that at a vintage stock over the weekend. Picked it
up. You ever used it?
I don't intend to ever use it. I used it one time when I was a kid.
It's garbage. Absolute garbage. That's so bad.
I was so excited to went over to a friend's house and he had it set up.
The commercials made it look awesome.
Yeah.
And then
and I was like, I was so excited. I was like, dude, we have to try this. He's like, no, you won't like it. He was already trying to talk me out of it. And I was like, come on, man, it looks cool. Just let me try it. He said, okay, you put in a game. And I'm like trying to make the character move or whatever.
Garbage.
And it wouldn't do it. And I was like, is it broken? How do you fix it? He's like, no, that's just how it is.
All I wanted to do was play Punch Out with that thing and just punch and did nothing.
You had to wait for the Wii.
So stupid, dumb. Ugh. It looked cool.
It does look cool. So I ended up buying it. It didn't come with a sensor bar or anything, and I was fine with that. I was like, I will never use this thing. It's simply going to be shelf.
Rarely do I ever see it out in the wild with the sensor bar, and it's not even a bar. It's like 4 different things that go around the outside of the TV. It's weird.
It's weird. Yeah,
it's garbage. It's freaking garbage.
But
it is a cool collector's item.
I did put it on, and I had to go. It's so bad. I had to.
Fair enough.
Let's see. Also, so okay, do you do complete in box or lose versus loose? Like, do you care?
It depends on the game. If it's, and it also depends on the system. I am okay getting Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, Game Boy Advance, and even Game Boy loose, just because even loose, those games look, pretty decent on the shelf.
Mhm.
What I do sometimes is I will, and I've actually completed a few things this way. Like I have all the games that I have for Sega Genesis except one I have completed, just because I will literally go on eBay and be like, I'll look for box and manual for whatever game it is, and I'll just try to find a loose one for that. I don't typically buy a complete copy. If I see it, I probably should, and then just sell off the loose one. I probably should. I just don't, and it's probably because I know that if I did, I just wouldn't sell it. I'd be like, oh, it's a double, and I'd throw it in my bin that I have with doubles. Um,
Yeah.
I just don't, because I don't care enough. Uh, but I will typically, like, every now and then look at my loose games and then just check on eBay. And this is like once in a blue moon where I just kind of get the urge to look and see if anything's available. Um, but I just because it tends to be so much more expensive to get complete in box, especially for those older games. I don't worry about it, unless it's a game I really, really want. Like I said, I really would love to have Final Fantasy II, Secret of Mana, God, Chrono Trigger, which all of which I have loose. But I just, yeah. And I honestly, with Final Fantasy II, I have the manual and I have the map that it came with, but I don't have the box, which is
No
all I
box.
need. So, yeah. But I it's not a deal breaker if it's a game that I really, really want.
Mhm.
I've kind of started to even go less on collecting any of those games anyway, just because I if I'm gonna, me, I collect to play typically,
Mhm.
and with a lot of the older SNES and NES games, if it's a game I haven't tried that I don't have nostalgia for, but I just think kind of looks neat, I'm more apt to just be like, I will just throw it on my SNES Classic or something like that.
Yeah.
And that way I can just play it, like Terra Enigma and what's the other ones, ActRaiser, and the other one that I can't think of at the moment, that I played last year. What the hell is that called? The other Quintet trilogy game, not Illusion of Gaia, but the first one,
Soul Blazer?
Soul Blazer. That's the one. Um, yeah, that was just bugging me that I couldn't think of it, because I just played it last year and I really liked it. But I don't really care to have those necessarily in my collection. I do have Terra Enigma on a repro cart in a box, which looks cool. But it's not like I don't care that much. I only got that because I wanted to play it at the time. This was years and years and years ago, before I had a SNES Classic that I could throw it onto. Because I don't like emulating games on my computer because I can't sit on my couch. But it is what it is. Newer games like discs, I won't buy loose at all. I do not like doing that. I hate buying discs loose. I got
That's where I was
really
gonna.
pissed off and burnt by GameStop because I bought a whole bunch
Yep.
of Xbox games that when it showed it to me on the website, it showed the box and everything, and it had everything there, and I was like, oh, sweet, awesome. No, when they sent it to me, it was either sent like in just a one of those paper cases with the clear plastic on the front, just so you could see the front of the CD, or it
Yeah.
was a generic black box with no label on it that just said GameStop on the front or something like that. And I was pretty pissed off.
Oh
So I've
yeah.
been slowly looking for those, but unfortunately, like Xbox One and those kind of cases are really hard to find, in general, just on their own. So
Yeah.
I was not happy about that, and I've got a handful of those. So
Well, and I was gonna say the we were mostly referencing when we say loose. I think I'm thinking cartridge based games.
yeah,
Because if you collect and you collect loose discs, you're a crazy person. You just
I I will say, like, I have seen people, like, they like the way I've known like one or two people in my life who like the way that they look in those old like CD binders
yeah.
and being able to flip through and stuff like that. And like for like a 10-minute period, I thought that was a cool thing to do. And then I was like, yeah, I don't, yeah, I don't want to because I like that. I like the cases. So I stopped doing that really quickly. And thankfully I held on to the cases when I did that anyway.
Yeah.
But I hate the idea of a loose CD that I've got for a game.
Yep.
It just bugs the hell out of me.
Right. I do have one of those binders, like you're saying. That just comes from when I buy lots of games and there's some loose discs, but
Yeah.
also whenever the PS3 and the Xbox 360 were going out, um, GameStop was, I mean, cutting the prices of those games to $5 or less on a lot of them. And I would go there, and if it didn't have a case, I'm like, whatever, I just want to play this game. So I would buy the loose disc. So in my binder, I have several loose copies of Xbox 360 and PS3 games. And yeah, like for the ones that I really enjoyed or felt like I needed to have a complete, I eventually got it later. And so I just have a double of it. But yeah, but with carts, man, I think carts in general, the way my rule of thumb, if it came originally in a plastic case, then I want to get it again with
Right.
that plastic case.
Yep.
If it came with a cardboard box, I'm not so driven to get that cardboard box, but something about the case, the hardness, I don't know.
Well, not to mention the ones that came in cardboard boxes, typically, other than Game Boy Advance, came with like either a plastic case, like regular Game Boy. They had the plastic wrap cases that came with, which was really nice. Or like in the case of Super Nintendo, it had the plastic covers on the bottom as well. And 64 doesn't, unfortunately. Those were loose. But then the NES also had the black slip covers that you can throw it on there. So I mean, even if you don't have a complete box, there's still a way of having them protected and still looking nice on a shelf. It's not a flat CD, in a crappy case or in a poking through a stupid plastic paper crap. I don't care. It's dumb. GameStop.
I always hated those dust covers that come on NES and Super Nintendo games. They don't fit on the shelf well at all. So I end up taking those.
The NES ones are fine.
Well, they are. But when the
Super Nintendo, I get though. Yeah.
When that black case gets dust on it, it looks so bad. And I did.
That's fair.
I originally had a lot of them in those black cases, and I just eventually took them all out and put them in a box.
See, I don't even think can get dust on them because they're like, I have them in sideways, or like where the top of the cart faces out. So all you see is the title of the game, and then the slip covers inside up against the wall, so you can't even see it.
Yeah. When I had it originally, my shelf was a little bit taller, and so dust would collect on top of those. And yeah, like you're saying, we have it with the label facing out, but that black sleeve is what would collect all that dust, and so it looked like a dusty mess. You don't really see it on a gray cart, but it really stands out on the black.
Oh, so you had them like out in the open?
Yeah.
Because mine are like in cubbies, so you can't see the black slip cases.
Okay. Yeah, no, mine wasn't like that. But I mean, even still, like I had a hard time. I didn't have enough to fit every game, so it took up a little bit more space. Yeah. And so I just condensed a little bit by taking them out.
If I go out of my way for any complete in box for any of those games, it's typically a game that I love. Like I in the last few months, I did buy Robin Hood on NES. Complete in box, which I love that game so much. And I wanted a complete copy. I remember getting that game as a kid, and I remember ripping that box open and just tossing it in the trash, which breaks my heart now to think about, because I know I did that with a ton of games.
Oh yeah.
But it was just really, really nice to have that now finally again.
Well, like when I'm talking about games that came in plastic cases, I'm also talking about the DS and 3DS games. Those came in plastic cases, and whenever I have a loose cart, I will buy loose carts if it's cheap enough, but man, it kills me. And I end up going on eBay and I'll do like a save search, waiting for empty case and manual to pop up. And if I can get one for a decent price, and I'll buy it to complete my copy. And I've done that several times.
I want for DS and 3DS. I do not like those things sitting there loose. They're too small.
I don't either. I recently picked up Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers in the Sky, which is supposedly the best mystery dungeon Pokemon game there is. I haven't played it yet, but that's all the rage. And but it was loose. I found it at GameStop loose. It was really cheap, so I picked it up, and now I have to have the case for it. So I went online, I found one on eBay, and I bid on it today. My max bid was like $35, and even then, that's a lot for a loose. I mean, for a
Right.
case. But with the deal that I got on the loose cart, and that game complete goes for over $100, I was happy to pay $35 for the. Well, I ended up getting outbid, and that thing sold for like $47, I think. I'm like, damn, man, that's it gets competitive sometimes with those loose cases, depending on the game.
Yeah.
So, but like Sega Genesis, for instance, a lot of those came in clamshell plastic cases that are really cool looking on the shelf, especially. Does it matter to you if your Genesis games are loose?
Yes, I don't like them being loose either. Like I said,
Yeah.
I have some friends that live up in Michigan. I've mentioned on my channel before, but the Basement Dwellers, they occasionally do a podcast where they just talk about just pop culture, nerdy stuff in general. Really, really fun stuff. But one of the guys, Drew, had offered me, he was like, hey, here's I know you collect, here's all my Sega Genesis games. He had like, I don't know, like 15 games or something like that. And he was like, are there any of these of interest to you? And I was like, sure, absolutely. And a bunch of them were loose. I did make him an offer on the few that weren't. I was like, these are complete. Here's, what I'm willing to pay you. Here's what they go for on eBay. I did what I normally do when somebody offers me that stuff. And he was like, all right, yeah, I'll take it. And we made a deal. He threw in all the other ones anyway and just gave them to me.
Nice.
And so like I had a whole bunch of like, and most of them were sports titles and stuff. And it's not like, I'm going to get a ton for him anyways, or he would have gotten a ton for him anyway. But he basically sent me a box, mailed me a box with all the stuff in it. And there was like, I want to say like 7 or 8 loose games, which would just bug the hell out of me. So I would literally like weekly, that was when I was really digging into trying to find cases and manuals for those. And he sent me this probably about a year ago. And now I only have one left that doesn't have a case manual that I'm trying to get. All the other ones I found. And so it looks really, really great on the shelf down there. I'm so happy. I even told him about it. I was like, dude, just want to let you know, it went to a good home. And they're back with their families now, so it's all good. So now I'm just trying to get a box and a manual for if anybody has it, Pele on Sega Genesis. So I have not found any of those yet. So we'll see at some point. It's not a huge deal, but I do like, just because I don't like the actual cartridge part on the bottom, where you put the game in. I don't like that to be out in the open and loose.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't like that. So, yeah.
I don't have a massive Genesis collection. I have probably an equal amount loose as I do complete or boxed. And it does pain me that I don't have those complete. But yet, when I look at my Nintendo, Super Nintendo, N64, it doesn't bother me at all that they're just loose carts sitting up there. It's such a weird frame of mind to have, but it's there. How important? Well, actually, another thing to branch off of that, like a goal within a goal, is variance. Is that something that's important to you with like maybe your favorite game? Yeah.
No, it's not. Like if I find out I have a cool variant, it's exciting, and I'm like, oh sweet, hell yeah, I got the good one. But if I have a game, I'm happy with that. Perfect example is Fantasy Star episode 1 and 2, Fantasy Star Online episode 1 and 2 for a Nintendo GameCube. There are 2 versions of that. There is Fantasy Star Online episode 1 and 2, and there is Fantasy Star episode Online 1 and 2 plus. Plus goes for quite a bit more. And I was happy to find out the mine says plus on the box. I had no idea, but as soon as I heard that there was a difference and that one went for more, I immediately ran to go check, and I was like, I got plus. And I was super excited about it. So, but like, if I didn't have that one, I would still be like, I have the game. I don't care. Because I still played it. I still had fun with it. I literally just bought that because I wanted to play it. It's not about, having the better edition or anything like that, so.
I got plus as well. I got lucky on mine. I found it at Vintage Stock a few years ago. They had it priced for the not plus version. And so they just mispriced it. Yeah, I got it for like $10.
You didn't tell them? Man.
No.
Wow.
But I mean, like I
I'm okay with that.
started,
Vintage stock has burned me a few times by saying, "Oh yeah, well it's we've sealed it, so there's a manual inside."
yeah, no.
Okay, okay, Kicks. Yeah.
Anytime I buy, because they always put that shrink wrap on around it when they
Yep.
put it out on the shelf, I always, before I buy it, open it up, and I even tell them, I'm like, look, I don't want this if it's not complete, and can I go ahead and open it? They've never given me a hard time about it. They usually just let me do it.
Yeah.
Although also you can just kind of feel by the weight of it, and if something is rattling around in it, if it's got something in it, but it could be like the warranty papers and stuff, and not exactly the manual. So it's always good to look. But for me, like I started down this variant hole a little bit with Final Fantasy VII. I have my original from my childhood, and then I got one that had the misprint eye. You familiar with that? I'm sure you are.
Yep.
So they had a version that had an eye that was misprinted, off the baseline of the text. And so that was a version that they had. Then they have like greatest hits version, and then there's some other variants as well. And I ended up having like 3 different variants, and I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Like, why do I need to have this? And I was like, I had to really refocus myself and be like, I'm not that kind of collector. That's not that big a deal to me. I ended up selling off the ones except for the one that I had from childhood. And it was really hard to list it. Like for me, whenever I'm starting to pare down my collection, it's like, it's hard to do it at first, but then once it's gone and I forget about it, I'm okay with it. It's
Does
okay.
yours have a crack in it down the middle?
What?
The case?
The case?
Mm-hmm.
Probably. Yeah.
Almost every single one I've seen has like a curved crack right down the middle, and it's like everybody I know that still has their old copy, like it same place on all of them. It's crazy. Those of you listening to audio only, Adrian is currently looking for his game.
I don't know where I put it, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that mine has a crack. Most of those PlayStation games have a crack just right down the center of it, like right in the middle. Seems like
Xenogears has it too on mine. It's like a curved crack, just like in the middle of it. It's annoying. But those are games I would never want to sell anyways. They just mean too damn much to me. So
exactly, yeah, and to me, it's more important for me to have the one that I had as a kid, so I wouldn't sell that one. Which kind of leads me into the next goal within a goal: condition. How important is condition to you?
I mean, you always want it to be in good condition, as good as you can get it. That being said, I think it all just comes down to price.
Yep.
Like so another one of the things that I collect that I am trying to, one of my goals is, and I've mentioned this on the show before when we had Stefan on, Nintendo Power. I'm trying to get a complete run. I'm about 50 or so issues short. That's one that I'm pretty picky on as far as condition goes. Like I will go on eBay and I will look to see, like I will literally like look at the pictures, and if some of them won't take pictures of what the spine looks like on the magazines, and I will typically like want to see that because a lot of them are trash, and you can tell like if the pages are going to be falling out or if like it's illegible on the side and everything. Because one of the cool things about Nintendo Power is when you line a lot of them up, there's a picture that forms. Which is kind of neat on the spine of them. So I genuinely want mine to be in pretty good condition. I have a few that aren't, and I've kind of like made sacrifices. Like there's a few that, like especially like with inserts and that kind of thing, I am not going to. There's one issue that goes for like a stupid amount that has like a ticket to a show on the inside of it. That was given out, and if you can get that issue with with that specific ticket still inside, it's like a couple $100 at least. But without it, it's like $20-$30, something like that. So it's you get to that point, but I don't really care as much about the inserts, but I still do look for posters if I can get it for a good deal. But as far as condition on games, again, it just comes down to price. If I see like if I saw a box for Final Fantasy II that was not in great condition, but they were selling it for dirt cheap, I'd probably pick it up. just to have it and be like, you know what, I've still got the box for it. It's still, it's still here and everything. I actually, perfect example, Growlancer, one of the Working Designs games that I had. When I first bought it years and years and years ago, it was at, I think Funko Land at the time. I went in and I got it, and the box was pretty much, the cover was completely ripped off. It was attached by like the bottom, and the top was like kind of just flopping over a little bit on there, but it was the box, and it had all of the goodies on the inside still, which I thought was great. And they gave it to me at a good deal, and I was like, hands down, absolutely, because it comes with a couple of games in there. It's Growlancer Generations. It comes with like 2 or 3 games in there. Really, really fun games, by the way. If you like tactical RPGs, they're really good. But I years later saw the box by itself going for like, I think I got it for like $10 to $15. And I just saw it on a whim on eBay, just the box alone, and I was like, oh hell yeah. So I just snagged it, so now it's in a much better looking box. So in a situation like that, if I can upgrade and get a decent box, I absolutely will. But if my only choice is a shoddy box, but it is a box, or nothing, then I will typically go for it.
Yeah.
If the price is right, again.
Right. Well, I'm the same way. Like, condition does matter to me, but if I see something that is priced decently, and it's not in the best condition, I'll probably still pick it up. Yeah, that's happened to me on multiple occasions. But yeah, like those boxes that you're talking about, that a lot of PS2 games would come in, and maybe they would include like a demo disc or a poster or whatever, something else with it. Those boxes are not always in great shape. So when you can find one that's in not really good shape, it's worth it to pick it up. But yeah, like it's not a killer for me. If I get it, then I'm happy with it and I'm fine. But if I see a better version somewhere else, I will likely pick it up and then sell my other one and just kind of balance the cost that way.
Yep.
But yeah, condition is important, but it's not a deal breaker for me. Another one, and this probably doesn't speak to either one of us, but sealed and not sealed games. I intend to play mine.
Don't care.
Just like you.
Yeah.
So sealed games are not appealing to me. That's not to say I don't own sealed games, though.
Right. Yeah, most of my sealed games are like PS4, that I just haven't gotten to, or Switch, that kind of thing. I do have a repro sealed Final Fantasy VII on the NES in a NES box that just looks awesome, and I have no intention of busting that out ever, just because it looks so cool. One of these days I should bring it and show it up on the camera here, but it's really, really cool. I got it on Etsy like years ago, and I just thought it was super neat. And Final Fantasy VII on NES just sounds super intriguing to me. I still haven't played that ROM hack, but I would love to at some point. Or ROM, not ROM hack, because it wasn't hacked from any original game. But I love the way that looks, and I have no intention of actually opening that thing. But yeah, I don't care about sealed games. If I got one, great. But I'm not like, oh, I can get this not sealed for $400 cheaper, or I can get it sealed for $400 more. Like, no brainer. I'm gonna go for the cheaper one. I just don't care that much, because I
don't either. Yeah, same here. I most of my sealed games are, again, DS and 3DS games, and the only reason those are sealed is because I've hacked my 3DS, and I will usually load those up with the games that I want to play on it. And so I don't necessarily need to have the cart to play it if I want to play it. So I'll just leave it sealed for, just for whatever. But like, I have Dragon Quest V sealed, and that game, it's like a $200 to $300 game sealed, which is pretty cool. But I mean, not that price even matters to me, because I never intend on selling
3DS?
it. So,
for DS?
Yeah, on the DS. Yeah,
it's a great game.
It is. That's what I hear from you and from another friend of mine. He says it's his favorite one in the series as well. But yeah, like I actually have, I don't know, probably 10 sealed games that I probably won't open. unless I just really want to. But also, Cameron, your buddy you introduced me to, he's also been on your channel as well. He hooked me up with a Sonic Game Gear game that is sealed. That is like one of my trophy pieces of my collection. I must say, I love that thing. I've got a Sonic shelf up there that it's kind of hidden behind things, but I want to get it like mounted or something. It's so cool to me to have that. You don't see sealed games, let alone a sealed Game Gear game that is, in the condition that this one is in. It's just in.
You heard it here first, guys. Adrian wants to mount Sonic.
Don't we all? Mm-mm. It's just me.
I don't. Yep. Yeah. Well, I'm sure it's not just you, but no judgment. You can do what you got to do.
All right. Well, appreciate that. Just call me out. Why don't you?
I'm just not going to tell your wife, but
Yeah, but sealed games are so unappealing to me, and I don't really understand the drive for it. Like, I think people collecting sealed games are primarily in it for investment reasons, and I'm not
another one of those bragging rights things.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, just because it's like I totally get the appeal. I would love to have sealed copies of everything for sure, but I don't need it, and I realize that, and it's not enough to like. My desire to have that is nowhere near what it would be for me to actually go and get it. I think it's cool, but it's not. Yeah, definitely the last thing that I care about on my mind.
Well, and if you ever had intentions of selling it later or thought that could be a possibility, then maybe it would be more important to you. But yeah. Like, I mean, for me, it's like, okay, cool. I have this thing that's valuable, but I will never sell it. So why?
If only I had a sealed Mario 64.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's a different story. You got anything that's worth $1 million? Yeah, you're gonna sell that thing for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
I'd cut him a deal. I'd be like, you know what? I'll sell it to you for $500,000. It's okay.
Yeah, man.
Still take
it. That kind of makes you wish you could go back in time and buy several copies of it and just put it in a box and not touch it for 25 years.
Didn't it come with the N64 originally?
I don't think so. I think
I thought it was.
I'm pretty sure the N64 did not come with a pack-in title. I could be wrong, but pretty sure it didn't. Originally, anyway. But yeah, so that kind of hits all the points that I wanted to hit with this discussion topic. Another thing that I'm collecting specifically for complete in box, I did want to mention is Pokemon games. There's a bunch of Pokemon games, and I've come to realize that I really love the Pokemon series more than I thought I did. And those are the one game play or one series that I can play and just lose time in. And I'll look at my timer and it's like 30, 40 hours. Like, wow, I did not realize I played that much of that game. And that's with every title I've played. There's
one game that I regret not jumping on originally, and it was my own fault. Well, two technically. And that's Pokemon Black and White 2.
Yeah.
I had so many chances to buy those when they first came out, and I didn't because I thought they were just like enhanced versions of the originals. I didn't know they were actual sequels. Had I known that, I absolutely would have picked them up.
Same here,
because I loved Black and White so much. Those were a couple of my favorites in the entire series. And so I'm still kicking myself to this day because those go for a stupid amount now.
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I thought the same thing because if I played one game in the series for that generation, I typically didn't buy the ultimate version of it, like Platinum, for instance, when you had Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, or Yellow, or Crystal. But in the same, like when Black and White 2 came out, I was like, well, I already played through White all the way. I don't really need to play through it again. And I think at the time I did know that it was a sequel, but I don't know. I think I was ready for something new, so I never gave it a shot. But you're right; those games are probably one of the more expensive games, at least in the DS.
That is another thing that I'm super proud to have is my complete in box red and blue original
That
Game Boy. I love those. I
man,
found those in my old room at my parents' house a few years ago, and I was like, it was like I struck gold. I loved it. It was so great to find that stuff.
that
Oh,
is
great.
cool.
I have an
That
old
makes
video on my channel where I show like the whole box of stuff that I found there. Like it included
yeah,
like Majora's Mask complete in box, Ocarina of Time complete in box, Mario Party 2, Rogue Squadron. Like I mean, it was a treasure trove of stuff. Like boxes were in pristine condition. I was like, I kept all this stuff. I didn't even realize that. It was great.
that is so awesome, man. That makes me a little jealous. I want to get the entire Pokemon series mainline games all complete, including the Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance games. I want to get those complete.
Sure.
I'm starting off with the DS and 3DS ones because those are the cheapest ones to get right now. So
Yeah.
I'm lacking. I've got most of them, but I am missing like I think White 2 and Diamond. I'm missing a case for Pearl. I just have Pearl loose. I believe I have all the 3DS ones, and then Heart Gold is another one that I need. But then after that, I'm going to move on to probably Game Boy Advance ones. I'd like to get Fire Red and Leaf Green and
Yeah.
Sapphire and all those. That would be cool to me. I come to realize that Pokemon is probably one of my favorite game series, and it'd just be really cool to have all of those complete. That is an eventual goal, an expensive eventual goal. So.
Indeed.
Do you have any like long-term eventual goals? Or I guess you mentioned your
Yeah,
designs.
I mean, like I said, working designs, Nintendo Power, and eventually Wii U complete run, which I probably need to get on because at some point those are gonna.
They already are, man. They already are.
Yeah, because I'm sure I can buy handfuls of just really cheap stuff right now, like Just Dance, like 7 different times.
Yeah.
On that kind of thing. But I probably need to jump on that soon. One thing that I do like that I'm never going to have enough of because they're, they still come out with new stuff, but I really like, especially collecting the classic stuff. Just gaming literature in general, especially like hint books.
Oh yeah.
And like old school, like advertisements and that kind of thing. I got there's that black NES player's guide. It's like black, but it looks like it's got the colored tabs on the side of it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I have. I'm pretty sure I have it.
I think that thing is so cool, and I've been looking for that for such a long time in decent condition. They're all over on eBay, but they're all like more than I want to pay for the condition that they're in, like we were talking about earlier. And I found one recently that was in really good condition, and it went for a good price. So I snatched it up, and I finally have that. I also got like a book that has a whole bunch of like, it's the complete Game Boy collection, like original Game Boy, and the Super Nintendo one I've got as well. It's just like all from old school Nintendo Power, like just has like hints and tips and tricks for all these classic games, and it's so cool to just look through those things and have them just like my Nintendo Powers. But I also like the NES guidebooks that Pat the NES Punk put out. Those things are incredible to me. I think they're just so fun to look through and check out. The Final Fantasy Ultimanias, anything like just literature that I can thumb through, look at cool artwork, and read up on these old games that are just so cool and nostalgic to look at. I love seeing that stuff, even if the same games are mentioned in all these books over and over and over again. I still love seeing from a different author their take on what they read and that kind of thing. So it's it's neat to see that. So that's something that I strive to collect more of, but will obviously never have like all of them because that would just be impossible, and they're still releasing them all the time. So
do you collect? You're talking about like strategy guides and everything, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Strategy guides too, but strategy guides are going like up in price.
They are
tougher and tougher to find. The one that I really want more than anything right now is the Final Fantasy III strategy guide from Nintendo Power. that is one that it has been eluding me for a long time at a good price. I can snatch it up. There's plenty on eBay, but they're just way more than I want to spend.
What are they running?
Somewhere between 80 and $100.
Okay.
And I just don't want to spend that much on a
Right.
guide where I literally have like 4 other ones for that game already. Plus, not to mention my brain is a freaking guide for that game. So it's not
Yeah.
like I really need these things to it's more just looking through it, reading it cover to cover, and just feeling nostalgic while I'm checking it out. So
You can read through that, and it's almost like playing the game, but
Yeah.
maybe at a quicker pace.
I love that kind of stuff. Absolutely. Yeah. I
Yeah.
still do like pull out my old strategy guides every now and then. Like the Nintendo Power strategy guides were some of the best, man. They're so good. I thumb through my Chrono Trigger one all the time still. Like I regularly, if I'm in my basement, I'm looking for another strategy guide because I'm about to start like one of the games on my list of 20. Chrono Trigger and Super Mario RPG, both of those I will pull out and just thumb through really quick because they're so neat to look at on the inside. And it's just I just love those things. And it's incredible. I could look at those things for hours.
That reminds me, I do have the Chrono Trigger strategy guide, the Super Nintendo version of it.
Yep.
And I need to use that when I'm playing through my game, because there's a couple times, well, actually right before I went to present time again, I couldn't figure out what I was supposed to do. So I had to look it up on my phone, but I have a strategy guide. I need to use it.
We're going to go to the future next, I believe.
Yeah. From what I remember, I think the last time I played this, I got to the
You said where you got to Ayla.
Yes.
Yeah, prehistoric.
And that's where I stopped. So once I get past that, then it's all new for me. I did want to bring up one small thing with collecting that I've been doing recently. I'm curious if you do it as well, as speculation collecting. And not speculation in that I'm going to collect something because it's going to be valuable later and I want to be able to have that thing to sell off. But because if it's a game in Switch specifically, because I'm after Switch games a lot, I will purposefully buy a game knowing that I have no time or no intention of playing it anytime soon, because I think my speculation tells me that it's going to be unattainable later, or more than I want to pay for it. Right. So like, to give you an idea, there's some games that I bought, like the Ease games, Ease 7, I believe, got to be pretty expensive. And I did pick that up early, so I was happy for that. Monster Boy, Lane Greaser 1 and 2, Atelier Ryza? Ariza? I don't even know how to say it.
I'm not a fan of the Atelier games.
I'd never played them before, and I saw that one was starting to go up in price, so I hurried up and snatched it before it got too much. But yeah, like I will go out and pick up Switch games just solely based on speculation that it's going to be more expensive later and out of my reach.
Yeah.
So
I've done that before.
But it doesn't really drive you to make a purchase.
Not really. Because again, my end goal is typically like, I want to play it anyways. So if it's like, if I see a game that I'm like, man, nobody's going to play that. Like, I guarantee you at some point, those Nintendo Labos are going to skyrocket and go through the roof. If you've got the originals still in their box with all the, the cardboard and everything in there, guarantee at some point, it's going to be stupid hard to find those. They're going to be ridiculously expensive. I have no interest in buying them. I don't care.
Yeah.
I just don't, I'll never play it. I don't have any interest. It's more of just a like, oh man, that's gonna, I can see that totally. Nintendo's not gonna care about reproducing this at some point. They're not there, it is what it is. So like in instances like that, I just don't care. If it's something that looks mildly interesting and I think it's going to be hard to find, it's not because I'm like, it's not the dollar signs that I see. It's more just like, am I going to be able to get this later on for me?
Yeah.
I'm not looking to resell this at some point. I just want to, am I going to miss out if I don't buy it now?
Yep.
On playing it, not am I going to miss out on selling it at a higher price, if that makes sense.
Right. And that's what I mean by speculation, because that's what drives me as well, is like, if I think this game is going to be harder to get or more expensive to get, but I do have an interest in eventually playing it.
Yeah.
I will pick it up early on. And I've done that with a lot of games. I've been right a lot of times and I've been wrong a lot of times, but in the end, it's fine. I paid a price that I was comfortable paying for it. So
Sure.
it doesn't kill me. But yeah, with that being said, I've kind of exhausted this topic. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I mean it's I think pretty much went above and beyond on that thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a
like I
fun
said,
topic.
if anybody has a box and manual for Pele and Sega Genesis, hit me up. I could use it.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I there's plenty more that I would rather get. But if anybody's looking to get rid of like old Nintendo Power magazines and Wii U games, definitely hit me up because I will happily look into what you've got and see if there's things that I need.
I still have yours sitting right here. I need to just
Yeah,
box.
I looked.
These
I
are in
looked
good
at those
condition, by the
again.
way.
One of those I do have. I think it's
Which
the
one?
178.
Coliseum.
I believe I do have that one. Yes,
All right.
I sent you a list of what I had, so it's
These are
not
cool.
my
Dude.
fault.
I love this one. This one's really cool.
Oh yeah,
And this one, too.
man, just Nintendo in general had such cool artwork and art stuff, and some of their issues are so fun to look at. Like issue number 200 is really cool because they did their top 200 games of all time, and it's just so fun to rifle through that and see what they thought was the best games of all time at that point.
Does it still hold up today?
Do you consider Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time best game of all time?
I wouldn't, but I know a lot of people who would.
You're probably right. Yeah, I think that's what number one was. It's been a while since I've looked at it, but I could rifle through Nintendo Powers all day long.
Very cool.
They're just so great. Yeah, that was a magazine I could always go back to. Still can go back to. So definitely looking for more of those as well as Wii U games. And hey, if anybody wants to give me like working design games, even if I have them, I'll take them. I'm not,
Right.
not gonna complain. So yeah, that's it for sure.
Well, that was a fun topic. I've been looking forward to talking about this. Anytime we get a chance to talk collecting, it's like I said, that's like the thing I get excited about. So
yeah.
I do want to plug my YouTube channel again. I haven't added a new video, but since the last time, but I'll get around to it. I've had a lot of life changes going on right now, but I have not given up on the YouTube channel. It will be up. I will upload something new soon. But yeah, if you want to find me there, it's Birdazoid. Just search Birdazoid on YouTube. What was that?
I was gonna say next month.
Yeah. Next month we are talking Chrono Trigger.
Yeah. So we actually talked about because we both really want to play Chrono Cross, the remaster when it comes out. And that's coming out in April. So we figured, why don't we just, because it includes Radical Dreamers, which is supposed to like help tie the two together a little bit better. I don't think it's like a super solid connection, but apparently it does help bridge a few gaps in there. And so I was just like, why don't we just do Chrono Trigger next month and then we'll skip a month so one of the two of us has enough time to play Chrono Cross.
Much appreciated.
I'm not going to say who, but no, I get it. That can be a long game. And then we'll do something else for the month after that. But then after that, we'll do Chrono Cross, and that way we kind of get the whole picture. But next month, we're definitely going to be looking at Chrono Trigger, which if you want to play along, compare notes, by all means, do it. It's still holds up in my opinion as one of the best games ever made. It's fantastic. It's a freaking masterpiece. So, and one of the best cast of characters I think in any video game, hands down, easily.
I can see that so far. I'm enjoying what I'm playing. It seems like even though I played half of the game before, or maybe half, I don't know, it does feel fresh to me this time. And I am excited to see it through to the end and see like what happens next. I'm enjoying my time with it.
I'm curious as to when you're going to decide to finish it.
I don't know.
There's like 9 different times you can choose to end it.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't know that.
There's multiple endings in that game. Yeah, it's crazy. That's why they do New Game Plus, because you can go back and replay and choose one of the other endings. Yeah, it's not like you make a choice and then you get one of that endings. There's like you stop playing the game and go defeat the final boss at specific times rather than going to the next main story beat, then doing something, then choosing whether to move on or go to the final boss.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I did know there were multiple endings, but I didn't realize you could beat it at different times.
Oh yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, and it's really cool because you keep changing the timeline of the world. So depending on when you kill the final boss, it also, like, the way the game turns out depends on how the timelines are at that point when you choose to go fight the final boss. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
That is cool.
It's a great game. It really is.
The copy that I have is a used copy, and the person who played it before me has like 80 hours into it or something, and they've unlocked everything that you could unlock. Like the DS version has a bunch of special things that you can unlock. Yeah. So I've been going through those. It's been kind of cool, but they only got one ending in it because it shows all the endings that you get, and they only got one.
I have only ever gotten one, and I've beaten the game like maybe 7 or 8 times. And I've only ever gotten the same ending. I always play it through all the way to the end, and I'm like, I'm going to use my New Game Plus and get one of the other endings, and I just don't go back to it. And the next time I play it is like a year later, and I'm like, but I kind of want to just start over because it'll be too easy if I play it the other way. And then I just don't again. So
can you reload a save and try to get a different ending?
What do you mean?
Like if you say like the ending that you can get the first, can you go ahead and beat the game, keep your save, go back to your save, and then try to get another ending?
You could, if that was your first playthrough, though. You're gonna have a hell of a time because the first time you can kill the end boss is like, have you gotten to the end of time yet? No, you haven't. So you're about to go to the future. I believe after that you'll go to the end of time. So pretty much imagine the level you're at right now trying to fight the end boss. It's probably not going to go super well. That's why they have the New Game Plus. You carry everything over because you can keep playing the game over and over again. And just at that point, when you get to the 5 or 6 playthroughs, characters are stupid strong, and you can just do it right there at the beginning. So
I do seem to remember the Edge of Time where you could go straight to the boss if you wanted to.
Right. There's a little bucket that you can go on, or not a bucket, a little glowy spot thing. Bucket is a save point, I believe.
Well, we're already talking way more about this than we should because we need to save it for the next.
I'm telling you, man, Chrono Trigger is so good. Those of you
I'm excited.
Who don't have it, haven't played it, you need to check it out because it's so fantastic. And there's so many different ways to play it at this point.
I've been trying to put in an hour a night so I can get through it quickly. Yeah. So
that's enough. I'd say first time all the way through 15 to 25 hours, depending on
that's
how fast you go. No, it's not bad.
Well, anything else you want to plug before we end it?
I mean, I haven't put up any new videos in a couple of weeks, but if you want to go check out anything on my channel, including the video version of this Game Room Revival, I have links to our Discord there as well. You can hop in there. Friday nights, we've been playing Guild Wars 2. You don't have to play with us. You're more than welcome to come hang out and just chat with us and whatever. We just hang out and BS the whole time. So it's a good time. And anybody's welcome. Is what it is. Not super active because I just am almost never on Discord. But Friday nights I am on there. So
all right.
Game Room Revival.
And there are no shortage of videos on JJ's channel either. He's been doing it for many years, and there's a ton of content there. Check it out.
There's quite a few, yeah.
So, JJ, you are so good at closing out the show. You mind doing it for us?
All right. Well, audio listeners, thank you for listening. If you would like to leave a comment or chat with us or anything like that, you can reach out to us on Twitter. We've dropped our Twitter handles. They'll also be in the video descriptions on Game Room Revival on the channel. You can also see our smiling faces there. We would encourage you to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. You know the drill. That's how it goes on YouTube. That's how we do. And as always, Adrian, what should they do?
Keep on gaming.
That's right.